Yo, welcome back to the station, Destination Devi fam. You know who it is. It is your host of this here thing that we do, Ray G. For those of you joining for the first time, you can catch me on Twitter at RayGQ. Make sure you're following the show at Destination Devi. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, like the content, check out everything on the channel. We're dropping heat, college football, redraft, dynasty, all of that good shit to help you be better in fantasy football. Let's get straight to the content.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
How do we win in fantasy football? Draft good players. That's the most important thing. But also finding value in players that a lot of people are kind of disregarding, throwing to the side, not paying attention to, concerned about competition on the team. There is value to be had, and we're going to discuss a couple of players today that you can probably get in your current dynasty leagues for cheap. In startup drafts, they're going late, and they provide tremendous value because they're in a situation, or they're in a position to be in a situation where they can be a lead back. They can be a starting wide receiver, flex play, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 with upside. And all of the players that we discussed today doesn't sound great. Sounds kind of gross, sounds kind of dirty. You feel nasty when you draft them, but the value that they present, that is how you win, right? It's having those legit players, your studs, your cornerstone players, the foundations of your dynasty teams, and then backfilling your roster with upside guys. That principle holds true whether it's for dynasty or for seasonal league purposes. The first player that I want to discuss today is a running back that plays for the Denver Broncos, and I'm talking about Phillip Lindsay. Yes, the undrafted free agent where everybody thought that Royce Freeman was going to be the guy a couple of years ago. All Phillip Lindsay's done is produce back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in an offense that really isn't explosive. And what did Denver do over the past couple of years? They invested in a quarterback. This past 2020 draft, they drafted 3 pass catchers on the offensive side of the ball to create more explosive opportunities for that team. And when you look at the backfield, it's Phillip Lindsay, Royce Freeman, and of course they brought in Melvin Gordon. But when you're talking about a player, again, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, career 4.9 yards per carry average, Melvin Gordon's in town. But, Phillip Lindsay's, what he's been able to do has been absolutely outstanding up to this point in his career for a player who does not profile as a feature back. And when you look at his value right now, his current ADP in dynasty drafts is 126. He is the 38th running back off of the boards. He's being drafted outside of that RB3. So you're looking at like a flex play. That's what he's being drafted at, Hey, say what you want about Phillip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon being there, but Melvin Gordon is already coming from a situation where he was a part of a backfield committee with Austin Eckler, and I think we are headed towards the same type of situation in Denver. And what I love about Phillip Lindsay, right, what a lot of people love about Phillip Lindsay is the fact that this dude has had to scrap and claw for every single thing that he's received in the NFL. And here's a direct quote from Phillip Lindsay about the addition of Melvin Gordon. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. He's here, I'm here, Lindsay said, according to CBS. When I get the opportunity to be in the game, I'm going to make explosive plays. That's what it's all about. I'm going to go from there. And that's what it comes down to. And the fact is, I'm going to do that. So it doesn't matter who they pay or who they brought in. They've got to get through me. And it's very hard to do that. That's the kind of shit that you want to hear from a running back who is clearly pissed off that they brought in another guy to be the starter. Now, while I do believe that Melvin Gordon is going to be the feature back in that offense, one injury, a missed game here from Melvin Gordon, a bad game from Melvin Gordon. We saw him cough the ball up a couple of times last year in critical situations. Phillip Lindsay's already shown an ability that he can carry the ball and carry the workload in that backfield. Now, of course, his 224 carries that he received in 2019, it's most assuredly going to go down, but hopefully we can see an uptick in passing targets, we can see an uptick in explosive plays, and being utilized in tandem with a Melvin Gordon should only boost Phillip Lindsay's value. And when you're talking about somebody who's being drafted as the 126th best player, the 38th best running back off of the board, give me that value all day long. Phillip Lindsay is falling, he is slipping, and people are panicked and afraid. Some players that are being drafted ahead of Phillip Lindsay right now: Tariq Cohen, Marlon Mack, Antonio Gibson, A.J. Dillon, and Zach Moss. Look, Dynasty, redraft, seasonal leagues, I want Phillip Lindsay more than I want Tariq Cohen. I want Phillip Lindsay over Marlon Mack. Antonio Gibson, we don't even know what he's going to play at the next level. A.J. Dillon, Zach Moss, there's a case for Moss and Buffalo with Singletary. But those are some players who Phillip Lindsay is going after in startup drafts. Listen, if you can go out there and trade for Lindsay on the cheap, on the low, make sure you go do that. It is happening. Phillip Lindsay is still a value. You might feel dirty about it. It might feel gross because of the addition of Melvin Gordon, but the value, the cost, and the upside of a running back in that offense that is more explosive than it was in 2019, well worth the price of admission. Go get Phillip Lindsay. Now, the next player I want to talk about is also a running back, a new team. It seems like he's on a new team every damn year, but I'm talking about Jordan Howard, the newest running back of the Miami Dolphins. Miami invested in Jordan Howard. They traded for Matt Breida. They've got Patrick Lair, Myles Gaskins, and I don't even know if Kalen Ballage is on that team, and I don't think it really matters one way or another. The Miami Dolphins invested high draft capital into Ogumbowale. We all know that. They also drafted an offensive tackle from USC and Austin Jackson, so some improvement to that offensive line. It's there. Like, first and second down work is there for Jordan Howard, and we have seen him be productive in the NFL in the past. He's only 25 years old. Miami, they need somebody to run the ball. They need somebody to run the ball to take pressure off of whether it's Tua, whether that's Fitzmagic back there. They need a bell cow running back, somebody to shoulder the workload on first and second down. We know Matt Breida is capable of doing that, but we also know that Matt Breida is one tackle away from limping off of the field and being injured for, seemingly all week, and then somehow Terminator style he plays. But, it's a sneaky backfield that could yield some positive returns in fantasy. You've got Breida, you got Jordan Howard. Don't discount Patrick Laird, deep Patrick Laird. You don't want to invest any draft capital in him. But Jordan Howard, especially in seasonal leagues in 2020, I am all aboard that train. If the Miami Dolphins want to roll with Tua out the gate, which personally I would not do that, but if they do decide to do that, who better to lean on than a running back who's commanded a feature back role in his previous opportunities in the NFL with the Chicago Bears, and he didn't play bad when he was in Philadelphia while he was on the field. Jordan Howard's going to see volume, and in fantasy football, opportunity and volume is king for the running back position. You are going to get that out of Jordan Howard. According to DLF's ADP, Jordan Howard is coming off of the board as the 128th best player in startup drafts. DLF has him ranked the 47th running back in Dynasty. Players who are being drafted ahead of him, everybody that I named in the Phillip Lindsay segment is going ahead of Jordan Howard. So Antonio Gibson, Zach Moss, A.J. Dillon, Tariq Cohen. Come on, man. Get Jordan Howard. The cost to acquire a player who could be on the field first and second downs all through the season, assuming health, you can't beat that. I know it doesn't feel great. I know the Miami Dolphins were still, we're hoping for that upgrade with the Dolphins, but it's still a little uncertain. But a player that I am all aboard for in 2020, especially in seasonal leagues and low-key still in dynasty leagues, is Jordan Howard. Again, for the cost, you can do a hell of a lot worse than getting a starting running back at the 128th pick in your dynasty drafts. Now, the last running back I want to talk about, this is strictly for PPR formats only. Points per reception. Seasonal leagues, dynasty leagues, does not matter. But Dare Ogumbowale, the third down running back from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, listen, hey, Tom Brady is in town, and we know that Tom Brady likes to feed the running back. That's what he does. Over the past 3 years, Tom Brady has averaged over 160 targets to his running backs. So when you look at that backfield, they did invest draft capital, day 2 draft capital in Keyshawn Vaughn, the rookie running back out of Vanderbilt, who I don't even know if he's better than Ronald Jones. I don't. I know a lot of people want to believe that, but I'm personally still on the fence. I think Ronald Jones is the back to own in that backfield if you're going to take any of them. But you've got Ronald Jones, Keyshawn Vaughn, and then you have Bruce Arians, and everything that's coming out of Tampa Bay. Words out of the offensive coordinator's mouth, words out of Bruce Arians' mouth. When Bruce Arians was there's some quotes out there about BA going into the draft and the type of running back that he wants. And he has made it very clear he wants a back that can catch the ball. He wants a back that can pass protect, but he also wants a back that can catch the ball. Dare was a team captain, man. He's respected by his teammates. He's been working out with Tom Brady over the summer, and he is a proven pass-catching running back out of the backfield. And when you're talking about the cost to acquire him, whether that's via trade or in startup drafts, according to DLF, he's coming off of the board as the 213th best player. He's got a running back rank of 81. So last season, 35 receptions, 286 yards. Again, drafting him as the 214th player in your dynasty startup drafts, you can do a hell of a lot worse than taking a shot on Dare. He's somebody that he's not your RB3 or RB4 or probably not even your RB5. But deeper, if you've got a deep bench, go ahead and get Dare, stash him. Trades, you can get him for throwing. Just if you're doing a trade and you're trading, I don't know, Joe Mixon for Derrick Henry, throw in Dare Ogumbowale in the deal as well. He's one of those throw-in players. You're not just going to go out there and offer for something for him straight up. But he's a player that in that offense with Tom Brady, who has a propensity to check down other running backs, he could have sneaky, RB3 flex-worthy, low-end RB2 upside on any given week, and he's not going to cost you anything. Again, over the past 3 years, Tom Brady has averaged over 160 targets to the running back position. We know that's not Ronald Jones' strong suit. We do know that Keyshawn Vaughn can catch the ball in the backfield, but he's not going to get 100 fucking targets. So you might as well invest in that third down potential James White running back. And coincidentally, James White and Dare Ogumbowale both played at the University of Wisconsin. Now, who's being taken ahead of Dare in startup drafts? Every fucking running back in the NFL. Like literally every back you can think of. Go through all 32 starters and then all 32 starting running back backups, and then there's a couple of more guys, and then there's Dare Ogumbowale. Like immediately ahead of him, it's Malcolm Brown and Gio Bernard. So there's a little bit of a value gauge for this player. Ogumbowale is somebody that I'm definitely interested in. I have him on a couple of dynasty teams. He's just a bench stash, man. He's a bench stash with upside in PPR formats. Given the cost, you can do a hell of a lot worse. That's what I've been saying, right? A hell of a lot worse than Dare Ogumbowale. Now let's talk about the wide receiver position, and I know we have been searching for years, it feels like, since Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb days, for the number 2 wide receiver in the Green Bay Packers offense. And I'm here to tell you, it ain't Devin Funchess, it's not Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and it's not Jake Kumaro, and is that guy Jeff Janis? He's not on the team anymore. It's Allen Lazard. Yes, Allen Lazard, the big wide receiver who came on late last season to earn the trust of Aaron Rodgers. Lazard, man, he is somebody that I am actively targeting in startup drafts because I truly believe he is going to be the number 2 wide receiver in Green Bay. And at worst, he did run out of the slot last year, so you're looking at the 3rd wide receiver if somehow Devin Funchess has some resurgence, which none of us believe that's going to happen. Why not take a shot on the younger, more athletic Allen Lazard? According to Player Profiler, his best comparable player is Marquise Colston, and we know what Colston was able to do in that New Orleans Saints offense with a Hall of Fame quarterback in Drew Brees. What is Aaron Rodgers? He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Now, he doesn't have Sean Payton calling the plays, but it's still Aaron freaking Rodgers. And with Davante Adams commanding a lot of attention on one side, the opportunity is there for somebody to step up in that number 2 wide receiver role. Jimmy Graham is gone. We're all kind of excited and hopeful for Jay Sternberger. But Allen Lazard, for what he was asked to do last year, he produced in limited opportunity. And when you look at his workout metrics, he's explosive, he's big. Now, the flip side to the Allen Lazard pros are Aaron Rodgers threw 569 passes last season, which was good for 8th in the NFL. Now, with Davante Adams, he missed 5 games last year. Allen Lazard was only targeted 52 times, which accounts for about 9% of that team's passing volume, that's not the type of target share that we're looking for dynasty or in seasonal leagues. But he did play well in that limited opportunity. And when you're talking about value, right, let's look at where he's being taken in startup drafts. He's got an ADP of 163. He's ranked the 77th best wide receiver, and his ADP has actually shot up about 30 spots. So he was damn near a 2, barely on the borderline of being a top 200 player. Allen Lazard is a talented young player with size. He has proven that he can play at the next level. He hasn't proven that he can be a consistent asset, but he can play. he did produce in limited opportunity, and where you're drafting him at, players who are going ahead of Alan Lazard, Chase Claypool, KJ Hamler, Corey Davis, James Washington. James Washington hadn't done shit. KJ Hamler, rookie. Chase Claypool, rookie. Corey Davis, no. We're not doing that again for like the 100th year. We're not doing it. So why not Alan Lazard? Again, being drafted as the 163rd player off of the board. What have I said for 3 segments now? You can do a hell of a lot worse than Alan Lazard late in your dynasty startup drafts. Let's head down south to the Atlanta Falcons and talk about Russell Gage. Russell Gage. This dude doesn't even have a player. DLF doesn't even have a player picture for him. That's how just throwaway Russell Gage is, but I'm all aboard the Russell Gage train. When you're talking about a player who's got an ADP of 221, overall rank of 185, I mean, why not? I mean, he cost you absolutely nothing as far as draft capital, as far as picks. Russell Gage was a cat that at LSU, he was a damn defensive back before he transitioned to wide receiver. Special teams guy, 6 foot, 185, not the biggest, but he is pretty damn good in the slot. And when you're talking about the Falcons, you got Julio on one side, Calvin Ridley on the other. I know Austin Hooper is gone. They brought in Hayden Hurst. And they also brought in Laquan Treadwell, first-round pick out of Ole Miss that flamed out in Minnesota. But Russell Gage made a name for himself with Matt Ryan in that offense. So before Mohamed Sanu was traded, Russell Gage had a whopping total of 4 catches on the season. After the Sanu deal, he had 45 grabs and 402 of those yards after the Sanu deal. Sounds like a player, and that's with Austin Hooper being on the field. I know he dealt with a little bit of injury as well. Julio Jones there. You're talking about a player who sort of established that third down, that slot receiver role for Matt Ryan, and in an offense that's going to pass the ball a lot, in a division that's going to score a lot of points. I kind of want all the pieces of that Atlanta Falcons offense. Todd Gurley, Calvin Ridley, of course, Julio Jones. Even a little bit of exposure to Laquan Treadwell, because I know his cost is low, but Russell Gage, it doesn't get any lower than damn 221. So you can get him for pennies, like literally breadcrumbs. Go get Russell Gage. I know, again, Alan Lazard, Ogumbowale, Jordan Howard, Russell Gage sounds disgusting, sounds nasty, but these are players that on the back of your roster, if you can throw Russell Gage in your lineup and he can go give you 5 catches for 60 yards, you'll take those 11 points. And then if he ever gets a touchdown throughout those games, that's icing on top of the cake. You want players who are going to score points. And Russell Gage, while not a primary option, he will not be a primary target in Atlanta. On those deep rosters where you're starting 11 and 12 players like Russell Gage are valuable, they are important, and they cost you damn near nothing. Some players who are going immediately ahead of Russell Gage: J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Larry Fitzgerald, Andy Isabella, and Kelvin Harmon. While I do still kind of like a little bit of the upside of Kelvin Harmon, in Dynasty, give me Gage over Fitz. Fitz is done. Love him. Hall of Famer. Fitz is done. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, no thank you. Andy Isabella, pass. And Quintez Cephas, he's also going ahead of Russell Gage. Quintez Cephas may not even make the team. Damn, 5th-round pick, rookie. Really? Come on, y'all. Go ahead and go get Russell Gage for the low. All right, the disrespect for this player. I get it, and then I don't get it. But Hunter Renfrow, yes, Hunter Renfrow of the Las Vegas Raiders, right? So in 2019, he did not start off on the right path. He caught like 14 balls for 100 yards through the first 6 games for the Raiders. At the time, Oakland Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders. But then from week 7 on, something started to click for Mr. Renfrow, and he really turned it on. From week 7 to the end of the season, he caught 35 passes for 491 yards and 4 TDs. Look, I know this dude looks like the cat from next door. Doesn't look like he belongs on an NFL field, but all Hunter Renfrow has done since his time at Clemson is get open, catch passes, and produce. And that's what he did for Derek Carr last year with Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. That was really all they had as pass-catching weapons. And I understand the trepidation, the cause for concern, because the Raiders did add Lynn Bowden. They did draft Bryan Edwards, and then they spent the first-round pick and the first wide receiver off of the board on Henry Ruggs. So when you look at the construct of that offense, you still have Darren Waller is probably the primary target. Tyrell Williams on one side, Henry Ruggs on the other side. But who's going to play that slot position? It's going to be Hunter Renfrow. And we all know that Derek Carr loves to check that ball down. Check down Carr. He's going to check it down, and Hunter Renfrow is going to be open. Hunter Renfrow versus a safety, mismatch. Hunter Renfrow versus a linebacker, mismatch. Safeties are going to have to play over the top to account for Henry Ruggs' speed. Tyrell Williams is still fast on the outside, and then you've got big Darren Waller. Hunter Renfrow, man, sneaky value. And you're talking about a player who's being drafted 183rd overall, the 87th ranked wide receiver. I really don't even have to tell you why you should be buying Hunter Renfrow at cost. And players who are being drafted ahead of him, we're talking about Alshon Jeffrey, may not even play, perennially hurt. John Ross, Van Jefferson, and every single player that I named that was ahead of Alan Lazard is also being drafted ahead of Hunter Renfrow. I don't have to lay it out for you, right? 183rd player in Dynasty, an offense in a conference where they're going to score points. The Chargers are going to score points. God knows the Kansas City Chiefs are going to score points. And we just talked about the Denver Broncos additions on their offensive side to upgrade their explosiveness. The Raiders are going to have to score points, and they're going to have to throw the ball, regardless if we want to see Derek Carr do it or not. But you better believe that he is going to rely on those mid-range targets, and Hunter Renfrow is going to be a part of that. Now, he may never see that high-end upside, but he's definitely going to get his fair share of targets. And when you're talking about a player who you're going to draft as your wide receiver 4, 5, or 6, you do a hell of a lot worse than Hunter Renfrow. And we ain't wrapping this thing up without talking about a tight end. And I want to talk about Josh Allen starting tight end, Mr. Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox did absolutely nothing during his time at Ole Miss. Still was drafted with fairly high draft capital. Super athletic player. I mean, one of the most athletic tight ends in the NFL. In an offense that is probably going to run the ball more times than they throw the ball, but a lot of people are expecting a step forward in passing from Mr. Josh Allen, and you better believe that he will lean on his young tight end. Now, the Buffalo Bills did bring in a running back in Zach Moss, but the biggest thing that should help Dawson Knox this year is the addition of Stephon Diggs, a legitimate number 1 alpha wide receiver field stretcher. Stephon Diggs can take the top off of a defense, and what does that do? That opens up the middle of the field for the big Dawson Knox tight end. And Dawson Knox's value right now, going as the 202nd best player off of the board, ranked the 23rd best tight end. There's a lot to like about Dawson Knox heading into this 2020 season. There's a lot to like about his athletic profile, that fact that he's the solidified starter in that offense. And he did make some absolutely ridiculous catches last year. Now, he did drop the ball a hell of a lot too, but for a rookie who did not do anything during his time at Ole Miss, we can expect some of those struggles. So expecting and hoping for a big step forward for Dawson Knox, but it's not just the hope, right? I'm not just here to tell you what I hope happens. Fuck, he's being drafted super late, the 23rd best tight end. It's according to his rank, the 202nd best player off of the board. To get a starting tight end that late in Dynasty, that's this young, that does have the athletic profile, that is talented, that did show he can catch the ball down the field. I think he had some of the longest downfield targets and receptions at the tight end position in the NFL. Again, limited opportunity, didn't catch a lot of balls, but I mean, tight end is so volatile as is, so why not take a shot? You're not drafting this guy to be your tight end 1. He's probably going to be your tight end 2, maybe even tight end 3. But when you've got the athletic profile, when you're in a situation where you are the presumed starter for all intents and purposes, they didn't invest anything in a tight end. They didn't bring somebody else in. Buffalo Bills seem to show a lot of confidence in this young kid. He's got the talent, the profile, and a young quarterback leaning on that tight end. The addition of Stephon Diggs should all bode well for the Buffalo Bills and for us in Dynasty. Most definitely interested in some Dawson Knox. So recap of some of the dirty-ass players that we should be drafting based off of their ADP. Phillip Lindsay, the running back from the Denver Broncos. Jordan Howard, the newest member of the Miami Dolphins. Dare Ogumbowale, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Alan Lazard, Green Bay Packers. Russell Gage, the Atlanta Falcons. Hunter Renfrow from the Las Vegas Raiders. And Dawson Knox of the Buffalo Bills. It's a show, people. That's a show. Straight, quick, easy, to the point. If you like this show, check out all the other great content on the Destination Devy station. Make sure you subscribe. hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, like it, comment. Love to engage with you guys. If you really, really want to engage with me and join, I'm telling you, the shit that we have on the Destination Devy Patreon account, go sign up. Go sign up. Try it out for a day. If you don't like it, cancel. Be done with it. But I promise you, it is the best Devy community, Devy Dynasty community in fantasy football, bar none. The engagement in the Discord channel, the type of rankings that you've never seen a rankings engine like this. I promise you that. You've never seen the depth of the ranking server that we have for our cornerstone players, for Devy players. Join the All Gas Army, patreon.com/allgas. Appreciate y'all tuning in. But until next time, peace.